We recommend this product be installed by a competent gunsmith.
Modification of your firearm may nullify the warranty of the firearms manufacturer.
No liability is expressed or implied for damage or injury which may occur from improper use or installation of this product.
You are responsible for the safe handling, legalities, and use of your firearm.
Warning: always wear safety glasses when working on firearms. So today we're going to do things a little bit differently. As you probably noticed, I'm not standing in front of the usual backdrop and it's not quiet in here like it normally is. Well, I can hear things at least, maybe you can't. Anyway, we're down on the shop floor here today. Normally we're up in the studio, but it's getting kind of hot here in Phoenix, so I decided let's do some stuff on the floor. I also need a milling machine to do some of the work we're going to do today, so I figured let's go on the shop floor. So here we are. Anyway, so what I have today to show you is the Apex barrel milling fixture for the M&P barrels. This guy is a 3D printed fixture that we manufacture. It's a lot like the aluminum machine fixture that I've been using for years to fit barrels with, but it's designed for use by the home gunsmith or the gunsmith or the professional, whoever needs to fit a barrel. It's a tool to make your life a little easier. So we're going to get into this thing. We're going to set it up on the mill. We're going to show you how to use it and put it together and all that kind of stuff. So let's get to it. This kit includes a barrel milling fixture, a 1/4-20 nut, a 1/4-20 bolt that happens to be brass, and that's intentional, a knob to go on that bolt, and a shoulder bar. Adult assembly is required. When I find an adult, I'll let you know, but in the meantime, I'll go ahead and put this together for you. So here's our block. We have the outside slot here that happens to fit the 1/4-20 nut. So I'll align the flats with the sides of that, with that little slot, and drop it all the way down. That should align into the hole here. I'll take my brass bolt and my knob, and I'll put the bolt through the knob in this orientation so that the knob is sticking out through the bolt is sticking out through the smooth side of that knob. I'll take that and put it onto my screw. Now, I'll stick the knob all the way against, and I'll go ahead and just tighten that down manually until I get it into the knob, and then I'll pull the knob back out and go ahead and tighten it. This knob is intentionally going to sit loose when a barrel is installed in this fixture. And the knob is here so we don't over torque and damage our barrel. So once we have this guy in, we're going to put it about that far. We'll get a barrel in there. The big thing is to look through the hole and see if you can see the screw sticking through. If you can, I'm just going to back it out there so I know the barrel will go through. Once that's assembled, I'll take the shoulder bar that comes with and I'll drop that guy down into the slot. Now the barrel is going to sit on that shoulder bar when it's installed in this fixture. And the idea is the bar is extra long so you can remove it, clean out debris, wipe the bar down, and put it all back between cuts so you don't end up with the barrel that's skewed because the bar is out of whack. So there's our fixture. We're going to put it in our milling machine. We're going to go ahead and get right to fitting a barrel. To set this up in your machine, I want you to see a couple things first. We're going to drop that shoulder bar into the fixture. It should press all the way down in there and just sit against the bottom. That bar goes into the front top locking surface of the barrel hood. So when I drop the barrel in, the barrel is sitting on the shoulder bar, and that's going to set our Z height on our machine so it's repeatable as we put the barrel in to trim it, remove it, put it back in, and trim it a little bit more. So from here, we'll go into our machine. So I'm going to go ahead and just squeeze this guy down and tighten the knob. And again, I want the knob only hand tight. I don't want to put a wrench on here and really crank on it. We don't want to over tighten. It's a brass screw that's sitting against the barrel. We don't need a ton of tension, just enough to hold it from vibrating too much. So once I have it in, all I got to do is drop this into my vise, and I need to make sure that the barrel hanging out does not hit my vise or the nut or anything else hanging off the side. So when I bring this in, I'm just going to set it down right there on the surface where I know the barrel is clear. And if I look underneath, I got about a 1/4 inch gap down here between the vise wall and my barrel. From here, I'll go ahead and just tighten the vise down. And I will warn you on over tightening. If you crank on the vise, you'll crush this block. You'll crush anything that way, right? We don't need to go crazy tight. We just need to get a little bit of tension on the vise and then torque it a little bit just to kind of hang on to it. And that's more than enough to make this work. So once that's installed, you'll notice that the nut, the little knob here is loose. That's intentional. I don't need it fully tight. I just need to tighten it so the screw is touching the barrel. This guy will vibrate around. When we're going to machine with it, you'll hear this guy kind of rattling around. It won't hurt anything. You don't need to tighten it up. If you want to leave the knob off, you can, but I warn you, do not over torque this bolt into your barrel. You will damage the barrel potentially. We don't want to do that. So finger tight is more than enough. So we'll go ahead and set this up now. We'll set our Z off the top of the barrel hood. We'll take a little bit off, and then we'll do it again. So we'll demonstrate that now. The first thing I want to set is my x-axis on my mill. In this case, it's the left and right view on the camera. So you'll notice that the edge of my cutter is hanging over, just barely hanging over the side, the edge of the hood. This is intentional. We don't ever want to cut right up the middle because it'll give you a really messed up finish. If we go off to the side of the cutter where the cutter barely overhangs the work material, you get a much cleaner surface. So that's my X setting. I'm going to set my X-axis and lock it down there, and I'm only going to be cutting along the Y-axis when I go to cut this. So we'll move the camera so you can get a better perspective of the rest of it, and then we'll continue on. With my X set where I want it, I have my 5-flute half-inch end mill in my quill, and I've got it just above the barrel. So I'm going to do two things here. There's no need to set a Y-axis. We're just going to cut all the way off the end on either side, so it doesn't matter setting a Y. But I have the X already set, and I need to set a Z. What I prefer to do is just bring the cutter down real gently and just barely have it come in contact with that barrel. I'll lock it down there, and then I'll go down to my table, and I'll set my table to 0 there. It depends if you're using your table for your Z or if you're using the quill or something else, but set your Z off the top of the barrel, and then we're going to take a little bit of material off of there. So the barrel's tight, everything is in the fixture, we're good to go. I've got a 5-flute regrind cutter in here. This happens to be carbide. I'm running this right at 1,000 RPM, which is what I prefer to run these at. It's up to you. If you've already got milling skills and you want to run a different feeder speed, go for it, but this is how we do barrels. So from here, now my Z is set, I'm going to go ahead and run this straight across and just give a nice clean pass to make sure that I don't have anything crooked. I'll notice if it's crooked because I'll cut on one side or the other more or less, and then I can readjust. You normally take about 6 to 10 thousandths off the hood of the barrel when you fit one. So I can afford a little bit of mistake here as long as I'm paying attention before I start cutting. So I'm going to get this guy positioned, get it fired up, and we'll start cutting. We'll go ahead and make our first pass across here. I have my cutter set right at 0, right at the top of the barrel. So I'm going to go and run this guy across nice and smooth. And you can see it's just barely taking off the slightest bit of material. You can hear it too. Now, when you're running a cutter across a material like this, run all the way off the far edge at the same pace you were cutting in originally, and you'll get the best finish, nice and clean and consistent. So right here I can see I've got a little bit of material taken off. I know that I have to take more than this off, so I can go ahead and cut some more, but it's good measure to go ahead and shut off your machine. And before you pull the barrel out, wait till the cutter stops or use the brake to stop the cutter. So I'll give myself enough clearance here to get the barrel out of the way. Just loosen my screw, pull my barrel out, and you can see I have a nice little finish on the end there. It's nice and shiny. Between cuts, remove the shoulder bar, wipe it down, use air, blow this guy out of here. I'm not going to do it on camera because it just gets too loud for the microphone, but I'll blow all the material out of there, put the bar back, and then put the barrel back in. This is ground stock. It should be the same size on all 4 sides. If you're really worried about it, use a Sharpie and mark the up and down or the left and right. Take your pick. So when you put it back, you got it reoriented the same way. So I'll get the air, blow this out, I'll put the whole thing back in, and we'll take a little bit more off until we get to the right dimension. I know I said this before, but I'm going to say it one last time, and I won't say it anymore because I know you're going to get annoyed, but the shoulder bar, between cuts, pull it out, wipe it down, clean out the slot in the fixture before you put it all back to make your next cut so that you don't end up with the bar skewed and the barrel all messed up, out of whack. So, bar's back in, I'm putting the barrel right back in, dropping it against that shoulder. I'm going to tighten it by hand, and now I'm ready to make another cut. Now, I did not move my Z after my last cut, so I should be able to make a cut right across. I'm going to go back across again just to make sure that I didn't go too deep or do something funny. So I'm going to turn my cutter back on. I'm going to run it back across at the same Z I ran it for before, ever so slightly touching, which isn't bad. It's not going to be a problem. Go ahead and take a little bit of that material off, and now I know I need to go further. I probably got about 5 thousandths more to take off this barrel, so I'm going to go ahead and drop my cutter down about, in this case, 3 thousandths. I do not recommend going more than 2 to 3 thousandths of Z depth per cut because I don't want the fixture to be, not stable enough. So I've moved down 3 thou. I'm going to go ahead and come back across. Same pace all the way across to get the best finish on the part. And I'll continue on all the way because the other side of the cutter is going to drag on it and give us a little bit of finish there. There we go. Now I'll pull this out and recheck the fit in the slide, and we'll continue on. I've trimmed a few thousandths off the end of this barrel, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test fit here. My idea with the barrel is the barrel should gravity fall into the slide. So if I drop the muzzle into the slide and drop this guy down, if I tip it back, it should fall all the way into position. So I'm going to hold my finger here just to keep it in place when I roll it over. And I look, my barrel has not fully seated in the slide. It's not sitting all the way up like it needs to. I can press it with my thumb, nice and hard in, but now it sticks. That's too tight. We're going to loosen it up a little bit more. So from here, if it presses in with thumb pressure and I can press it out with thumb pressure, I would say I have about 1/1000th to take off the barrel hood. So I'll go ahead and pull my slide here out of the way, and I'm gonna go ahead and we'll clean this guy out and get this back in position, and we'll go ahead and take another 1/1000th off that surface and see how it fits. I have the barrel refixtured. I need to take off about 1/1000th more. So I'm gonna turn my cutter on and run it back across. Let's see if I got that shoulder bar nice and clean. I don't hear a thing, which is not bad. Let me go ahead and drop this guy, or bring the cutter down another 1/1000th or so. In this case, just about 1/1000th. Let's run back across, see what it does. I can hear material coming off, and I can see little bits coming off of there, so that's perfect. We'll make our cut all the way across, and then we're gonna check it out in the slide and see how she works. All right, now that I've taken off just enough on the barrel, let's go ahead and try it in the slide. So I'll go ahead and put this guy in here, and now from here, I can press it up, and it goes all the way up with a lot less pressure than before, but it still sticks. I want it to gravity fall back out, because this is a little too tight. If you have the barrel too tight, thermal expansion of the components when they get hot or dirty will cause things to tie up, and it'll cause your gun to malfunction. So we're gonna give ourselves a little bit more space here. So since the barrel sticks when I put it back in the slide, we're gonna need to take a little bit more off the length of that hood. The nice thing is you can look at the barrel hood. If you can see it in the video here, you can see the contact point right here on the barrel hood, and a little bit on the top of that guy. So I'm gonna put this back in. I'm gonna go back across my same Z height and just run one more cut across. And if it doesn't take any off, I'll go about 1/2,000ths deeper and take a little bit more so we can get that perfect fit on this barrel to this slide. All right, we're back in the machine again. We're gonna run another cut straight across. Ooh, that's barely taking anything off, which is not a bad thing. We'll run all the way across there. All right, let's try that out. Yeah, it doesn't take much. Once the barrel is pressing into the slide, it doesn't take much to get the last little bit off. So since I run the Z at the same height, it took a little bit of material off. Now let's see. I'm ever so sticky in there, so I do need to go ahead and bring it down. So I'm gonna put this guy back in after I get this guy all cleaned out, and I'll run one more cut, and that should be done. All right, I'm gonna make my check pass going backwards. Barely touching anything, which is fine. All right, let's go down that last little 1/2,000th. Maybe 1/1000th, it wouldn't hurt anything to go a little further. We are ever so slightly cutting, and I'm gonna keep a steady pace all the way through my cut to give it the best finish. Nice sharp cutter will help as well, so if you don't have one on hand, find one. These barrels are in the mid-40s Rockwell range, so you can use high-speed steel to cut them, but I prefer carbide because I just like carbide better anyway. Anyway, that should fit perfectly to our slide. So once the cutter stops, let's find out how she fits. So back in the slide, we're gonna go and drop the guy in. That fits perfectly. So here, you can see it here. If I drop the barrel at the front and then let it gravity fall in, I am fully seated at the top without any friction. If I grab the front here and press back and forth, I have almost no front to back wiggle, but the barrel does fall right in, right to where I want it. So that is a good fit of the barrel hood. Yes, you could use calipers and gauge blocks and measure everything and then take off that exact amount. I found that it just simply doesn't work as well as using this method of take a little bit off and fit it properly. Same thing works with a file. It's the same principle. Take a little bit off at a time until you get exactly what you want. In this case, if I hold the barrel up, it falls out via gravity, but it doesn't have any front to back shake. That's gonna give us the most consistency on our barrel hood to our slide. From here, I'll put the recoil spring back in, and then I'll put this on the frame and we'll trim the bottom as well. You've seen me do it, now you know how to do it. So watch the video again, make sure you follow the steps that I used. If you have any questions or issues during use of our tools or install of any of our parts, contact our customer service. That's what we're here for.